Let's take a look at how to actually create the A/B testing split. So the concept here is very simple. Basically, you need to be able to give different versions of your player to different users with custom conditions that you can parameter and control. So there are several methods to do it. I'm going to talk to you about two of them today. The first is the dynamic config injection, and the second is basically provide different version or builds of your player via reverse proxy. So the first method is to create a service that injects a different configuration into your player and overrides the default config. So basically what happens is that instead of just bundling your configuration with the JavaScript player file, you make your player asynchronously request the config from an A/B testing broker service that is completely separate from your player build. And basically, that way you can customize the configuration file you send to each of your users, and you can make it depend on the stream they're watching, on like the ISP or the city they're in, or any other parameter you want. So this method has a lot of advantages. The biggest one is that it's very easy to set up and use because basically you just work with a simple config file. It's also easy to deploy and roll back frequently because it's a completely separate service from your player build. And finally, it's also very scalable because the only thing that this A/B testing service does is basically send a 20-line config JSON at the beginning of each session of your users. On the other side, being able to only change the config for the users, of course, gives this method a quite limited scope, so you can fine-tune your config parameters and even test new features via flags, but it's not a very good workflow because you don't want to have code that has a lot of conditionals and depends on a lot of flags, so you don't want to go too deeply into that for new features.